Welcome to Compas F.C. I'm Fernando Ramirez, joined as always by Eddie Rodriguez, J.C. Cervantes, here to talk Champions League soccer. Obviously, with everything going on, Champions League takes center stage. Obviously, we have that. We have some reports coming out of the Mexican Federation, and then some is San Diego next in line for an MLS team. We will get into all of that and more. Obviously, the guys are joining me. Eddie, how are you doing today?
Fabuloso. How are you boys?
JC?
Freezing out here, man. Where these winds? Where do these crazy winds come from? I'm
Is
freezing
this
out here.
is this San Diego, or are we somewhere? Are
Uh,
we in the
as
are we
We're in
this
out
this as
Manchester
in
right
New
now.
York? Are we in
SD
Chicago?
SD stands for South Dakota. Apparently, It's
It's
freezing out
funny. I
here.
mean, Daniel and I went to go watch the St. Augustine against San Isidro basketball game, and man, you would swear like we're in snow weather. Like people had the hats, the like two jackets on, like thermals and stuff, and you're like, damn, all right, like I guess
Anything
it's
below
that
60 is not acceptable when you live in San Diego.
exactly. I guess it's that kind of party, I guess. But obviously, let's get it started with the first game of, I mean, the most interesting game, I guess, out of the four. Real Madrid, obviously, Liverpool started off 2-0. Uh, a little bit of shaky defense, I guess. But then as soon as David Alaba went down, they put in Nacho. I guess the defense kind of was able to get it together. Obviously, they scored five in a row. Like Eddie had told me off camera, is that I guess Benzema went into the locker room and told these guys, "Hey, we can knock in as many goals as we want on these guys, or 3 goals or whatever. We need to come out here." And I mean, obviously, some people had thought that leadership was lost with no more Ramos, with no more Casemiro, but obviously, guys like Benzema, guys like Luka Modric, guys like Tony Kroos, obviously, those guys are leaders. They stepped up. They bring back and they score the most ever goals in Anfield. You even had, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but after the game, Liverpool fans were standing there celebrating like Madrid, like they were clapping Madrid up at the end of the game. I thought that was pretty interesting. I know guys at ESPN FC, CBS, they were not happy. Some guys like Kerrigan, some guys like Stevie Nichols, they were not happy that Liverpool fans were celebrating Real Madrid winning 5-2. But JC, I'm going to start off with you. What went wrong for Jurgen Klopp and his team?
I would honestly say that press was crazy at the beginning. It worked out for them. They were able to concede or get Madrid. On the press a couple times on that first goal from Darwin Nunez. Can't take that away from him. A crazy finish. A little back heel flick there. Unexpected from many just because of his form and the way he's been missing. But I mean, do you ever really count Madrid out anymore these days? It's almost like they do it intentionally. They like to cook up a score, make something real dramatic, and then boom, boom, boom. They just bang out five unanswered today, or in that game. I'm sorry, and they just kind of just crush any opposition. They've done it now to Liverpool. They've done it now to just it's a list of teams, and it's going to keep growing. You had the city as a favorite, or you had anybody else as a favorite, and then you just see Madrid do this with the players on the field, which I would arguably say that this is their strongest 11 that they could put out there for the most part, and they handle business. This is what you expect from the how many times now? 14, 14
14.
time,
Yeah,
14
14.
time Champions League champions. That's a lot of championships, and they're there for a reason, and this is why. You almost thought that Liverpool was going to win the game. Salah got his goal finally, but at what cost? At what cost? I mean, he bagged his goal, and then bam, five came in after. The curse lives on, guy. Let it go.
It's funny you mentioned that because obviously everybody remembers that 2018 final. Gareth Bale hits 2 goals, and yeah, that was the one where Ramos,
Madrid legend.
uh, yeah, yeah, that's when Ramos angles his arm against the one hit wonder. That's the one where Ramos
One,
angles his arm.
one
Well,
hit.
the back end Bale, the
They're
golfing Bale.
disrespectful.
That was the golfing Bale. That's
MVP.
when he tangles his arm and drags down. Their arms got tangled down. They both fell. Obviously, Salah and Liverpool wanted to make it more than it was. And every single time since then that they've played Real Madrid, they've said this is going to be the game where we get our revenge, and it just hasn't gone like that. Eddie, what went right for Real Madrid?
It's that experienced midfield. You got players like Luka Modric who don't age, and then you have someone like Toni Kroos that's always calm under pressure. But also give credit to Camavinga. Camavinga looked like he was ready to step up for the occasion. Liverpool didn't have an answer for him. Jordan Henderson looks like he's given his last, good games for the club. This Liverpool team has just been all over the place, and I think we hinted at it last podcast that this Real Madrid team is going to come in here and they're going to steamroll Liverpool. And at first, it didn't really look that way, but you take my locks, at their word, and that's what happened. So, great game by Real Madrid. Shaky start, but this is Real Madrid. This is football heritage, and this is what happened. This is what happened, right?
This is what Jurgen Klopp had to say after the game about what happened with his squad.
Coming out that second half, the game was still there for the taking, wasn't it? So what was it that changed for them? Did they show their experience out there?
Yeah, in moments then, of course, as well, but it was the start. I think wasn't it the first ball? First ball they played to the left side, which they couldn't do that in a complete first half. That's simple. So we didn't go out and try to defend or attack the center half. Was it Camavinga? Don't know who played that ball. Maybe Militao. But then it's a 1-1 situation, and Joy goes on that side. It's fine. And I think we defend then the situation in the moment, but then he gives it a free kick. And again, a free kick can happen. But then this space, that's not possible at the players let alone. That's really not possible. But it happened, and that's why we were at 3-2. And then, how I said, then you feel intensity. If you don't get that, then you don't feel intensity, and you keep going. That's not a problem. But you have to keep the momentum. And there we lost it, and didn't get it really back, to be honest.
So obviously Jurgen Klopp. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this is what he said real quick. This is what he said after the final last year, after he lost the final to
petty, bro.
Real Madrid.
Don't start.
Oh, there it is.
He put, where is it next year? Istanbul, book the hotel. So that's what Jurgen Klopp said last year. After the final, he said, where is it next year? Istanbul, book the hotel. Obviously, the J.C., let me ask you, do you feel like Jurgen Klopp might be in the hot seat?
No, I mean, he is, but I don't think he should be. He's done a lot for that club. He's won them championships that haven't come very easily, let alone at all. And he's done a big thing in changing the culture first and foremost of that team. And he's definitely made a lot of winners of a lot of guys that you definitely don't see being winners in a lot of other teams. When you look at the group and the type of style of play he's able to put together, you have to have a lot of respect for that. Coming from a United supporter and everything, he just came in and he really made the club his own. Rock and roll football, right? Everybody knows it. Everybody's heard it. And they go fast, they go hard, and they don't stop. And that game, I'm sorry, is the definition of when rock and roll football meets a brick wall. Rock and roll, you can only go so long. You can only go so far. You're going to hit the wall and you're going to come down, and that's it. You started off strong, 20, 25 minutes, rock and roll football. You can't keep up that tempo forever, especially with the aging midfield and an aging team overall altogether. I don't think Klopp should be on the hot seat. I think Klopp definitely deserves a lot of credit to what Liverpool has had happen, in recent memory. But them essentially changing ownership is going to change a lot of things in the club, especially for Klopp, and you've seen it already with Chelsea. And they let go of Thomas Tuchel, which was a great coach. I don't feel like he should have left. We've said it time and time again. They were 1, 2, maybe 3 players at most away from repeating another Champions League victory. You don't want the same thing to happen if you're a Liverpool supporter. So whoever takes over for this club, you kind of hope to see Klopp get that backing. I don't think he should be in the back seat, in the hot seat. I'm sorry, but is he? Some people would argue that he is.
Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the personnel anymore, and Liverpool went on this great run for like 5 years where you saw this gang press football or style of play that Klopp was known for, and you just no longer have that personnel. You don't have a Sadio Mane running down a muck on the left wing. You don't have a healthy and a fit Jordan Henderson. I would say you don't have a CDM because Fabinho right now looks out of place in this team. That you have to rely on your academy and just stick young guys in there because when you look at your bench, you don't have that personal, you don't have that squad depth that you used to have. And again, that's not Klopp's fault, right? Like J.C. said, I would give him another shot at rebuilding this team and possibly going on one of these magnificent runs that he just went on for 5 to 6 years. I'm sure if you're a Liverpool fan, you're hoping that Klopp doesn't leave because realistically, if he leaves your club, who are you going to go after? Who's going to be the next coach? There's not many options out there. So are you going to take a Pochettino over a Klopp? I don't think so. So again, is Klopp under the hot seat? Maybe just because of his league form. Liverpool are like in 8th place, I think, in the Premiership, and they're looking like they're not going to make Champions League this season. And their best bet was to win the competition, and that's not looking likely either. So it really just depends on how impulsive the ownership's going to be, and if they're just looking for a change. The first person to go is always the manager, and that's a possibility. But should he be? No. Can it happen? Absolutely. This is the Premier League, and we know that coaches have very short tenures at clubs. Short tenures.
I want to ask you guys both this question because it was brought up on like on one of the soccer shows. Let's just say Madrid wins the Champions League or Copa del Rey, and Ancelotti says, "You know what? I've had a good run. I want to bow out. I'm going to take the Brazil job." Could Jurgen be a guy that it says, "You know what, Liverpool, peace out. I'm going to go take that." Do you think Jurgen would want to maybe take that job, especially because it's the Madrid job? It's one of the biggest jobs out there. Do you feel like, Eddie, that Jurgen would be a guy that would want to take over that job if it becomes available?
I think Jurgen and the Madrid culture just don't fit. They don't mesh. We've seen him at Dortmund. We've seen him at a little bit. I think it was Mainz, and that's not his type of club. His type of club is one that has this. I guess I don't know what you would call
rock and roll mentality, like JC said.
Just the fan base in Madrid is a lot different than the one he's experienced in Dortmund or in Liverpool.
Like a rough team.
So I don't think it fits his style. I think it fits Thomas Tuchel a lot more than it does Jurgen Klopp. I think Thomas Tuchel would be a great fit for Real Madrid if Ancelotti decides to leave after the season. But Jurgen Klopp, for sure, it doesn't fit the mesh. And I don't think Papa Perez is ready to fork that much responsibility over that he's been handling all these years to a manager like Klopp. Because Klopp, in a sense, manages his team a lot like, let's say, if you're familiar with basketball, Doc Rivers was managing his teams. He has a lot of say in what personnel come in, what personnel go out, et cetera, et cetera. So no, I don't think that's a possibility. I think you're wishing on a star at that point if you really think that Klopp will leave Liverpool and join Real Madrid. It's almost like he's anti-Real Madrid. So yeah, I don't think so.
JC, I'm gonna change it up for you. I have a question for you, and I'm gonna show you a clip real quick, and you tell me if you agree with this guy. Hold on, real quick. Here we go. All right, here it comes.
Te pongo la frase, acabas tú. Vale. El mejor del mundo para mí es, acaba la frase.
Ahora mismo, Vinicius. Y Mbappé come en la misma mesa que él.
Madre mía.
Toma.
You heard the madre mia. But JC, is Vinicius right now the best player in the world?
Yeah, it translates, right? So man said that Mbappe and Vinicius is the best player in the world. Crazy. No. If you want to talk about recent form,
Marcus Rashford,
you're definitely all right. Apparently nobody else plays left wing, but okay, here we go, another guy. just talking smoke, right? But no, definitely you don't take away what Mbappe has been doing. You can't already write him off and sweep him under the rug like the guy's been doing it for 15 years, and his time has come to an end. Like he's coming back from an injury. He's played a crap ton of minutes in a short span of time, and that's why he's injured. You take away the World Cup, you're never talking about who the best left winger is in the world today. So let's just make that clear. And the World Cup made it clear who the best left winger in the world is today, and the best attacker in the world today is. So for anybody to come out here and say we're gonna say anybody else is better than Mbappe is blasphemy. So nobody in the world today, and nobody in the world today is better than Mbappe. And
Ancelotti did say that.
That's that.
Vinicius is the best player in the world.
Okay, I mean he has to say that the same way nobody's gonna throw their own players under the bus, right? Like it's clear. We're not gonna sit here and as head coaches, we don't expect head coach to say this guy's a bum, get him out of here. They're never gonna say it.
I mean, I think if you ask Klopp right now if Salah is one of the best players in the world at the moment, I think he'll say no.
I think he will.
You gotta be realistic. You gotta be realistic.
Yeah, you could be realistic, but as a coach, you're never gonna talk about that. That's your clubhouse.
I'm gonna go. Eddie, I'm going to go with you real quick for this one. So, okay, let's just say Madrid wins the Champions League. And let's say they win Copa del Rey. Vinicius has a good showing at the end of the year with those two trophies. Could that put, and him being at Real Madrid, could that push him over the top over an Mbappe because he plays at a bigger club? He plays. No, I'm just because that's the thing that's being discussed right now. They're saying that
the real reason
it's the 2 months into the Ballon d'Or. Why are we talking about this now? It just started.
But check it out. The real reason why he would be in that conversation is because of the Champions League. Is because of his play. It's because the way he's playing right now. He's obviously top 3 in the world. When you talk about left wingers, there's Mbappe, there's Vinicius, and then there's Marcus Rashford. Contrary to what J.C. says. Now,
I'm just not fast to give anybody and everybody
the only reason
credit.
Mbappe won't win it is because PSG are not going to win the Champions League. Let's just be clear. They're not going to win the Champions League. Another failed attempt at it. Mbappe is probably going to leave this summer, and he has to go to Real Madrid if he's looking to win the Champions League and he's looking to win the Ballon d'Or. Will they give it to Vinicius? No, we know how France football operates, and they probably wouldn't give it to him.
Like, my bad, JC. I guess I'm not asking just about Ballon d'Or. What I'm asking is like, is it because he's at PSG that it kind of takes him down a little bit out of consideration, but the fact that they don't win, the
fact that they don't win, and
you saw the guy come off the bench. You saw the guy come off the bench and in 20 minutes destroyed a whole nother team. Like, how are you still going to dismiss him? Like, the guy is like,
we're not dismissing him.
Yeah,
we're not dismissing him.
You're trying to give Ballon d'Or. You're making hypotheticals like, what if Madrid win? No, like you saw Mbappe come off the bench injured and destroy a whole other team, and you're like, here comes Mbappe, here goes a goal. You score 2 goals offsides, bro. Like the guy is a menace.
No,
he's the best attacker in the world.
Yeah, we're not denying that.
Don't take it away and try to give away to Vinicius and all. No, it doesn't matter.
But I'm saying because of the club that he plays at.
He's gonna leave PSG, and that's fine.
He has to leave PSG.
No, it's gonna happen. He's not staying.
Okay, well, that's my question. Then I guess that's my question. Does he need to leave PSG for him to?
He doesn't need to leave. He's going to leave. It's a matter of time. So don't hold your breath on if, it's when, and it's gonna happen. And when he's gone, PSG's gonna be.
But he has to leave to win the Ballon d'Or. If that's what he wants. If he wants to win the Champions League, he has to leave PSG. PSG is not gonna win the Champions League. I'm telling you that right now.
You've already seen Ballon d'Or be given away to just anybody for any reason, like beating Chile in a South American tournament. That doesn't mean anything. They'll give Ballon d'Or for anything these days. So don't hold that as like a whole credible thing now.
Bro, he scored a hat trick against Elche, please.
It's not credible anymore. Like the Ballon d'Or conversation is whatever now. It really is.
Who are the 2 most informed left wingers in the world right now?
No, it doesn't matter. Next question.
It's Vinicius and Rashford.
It doesn't matter.
Let's be honest.
Vinicius
Those are
in
the
20
two
minutes
most-
has done more than
those are
Rashford
the
has done in 90. So don't even
Those
come
are the
close.
two most informed left
Don't
wingers in
even
the
start.
world right now.
Don't even start. Don't even start.
When
Vinicius,
Mbappe's healthy and Mbappe's firing, there's no question.
Rashford isn't even
There's no
better than
question.
Vinicius. So don't even talk about Mbappe.
That's a
Let's
conversation
just
for a
keep
different
going
day, though.
forward. It's not
But okay,
because he's not
it
better
is.
than Vinicius.
It's definitely a conversation for a different day. Yeah.
All right. Well, and that again, just to be clear to people out there, because sometimes y'all just jump to conclusions. What I was saying is, does Mbappe need to be able to leave, or does he need to leave to be able to be considered for that, and obviously to win these other trophies? Because it doesn't look like it's going to happen at PSG, especially with we all know that Neymar's sister's birthday's coming up, and there's some other stuff coming up. So obviously,
funny stat: Neymar hasn't played in 7 years a match when his sister's birthday is around the corner or something like that. I think his sister's birthday is like March 13th or something. And if there's a match day on that day, he doesn't play. So that's a funny stat.
That guy's
funny stat. He's
All
always
right.
injured during that time. So
another team that is obviously considered a heavy favorite or heavy, whatever you want to call them, is Napoli. Napoli is obviously considered a heavy favorite when it comes to this. They're dominating right now in Serie A. They played Frankfurt. They took it to Frankfurt 2-0. There were some other, honestly, and J.C., Eddie, and I were watching this game, and we said this game could have ended with a lot more goals. They just weren't putting it away, but Napoli looked dangerous. Eddie, what did you make of their game against Frankfurt? I mean, to me, they look really dangerous right now.
They're playing real fluid football. That's what it looked like. Everyone's clicking at all levels, defensively, attacking.
El Chucky Lozano.
There you go, your boy El Chucky Lozano with a nice assist, and Osimhen with the finish, which has been happening all season. They could have scored a lot more goals. And this Frankfurt team is the same Frankfurt team that took it to Barcelona. So don't forget about that, right? They're no bums, they're no scrubs. They took it to them last season. So, yeah, they could have had a lot more goals. But we're talking about Napoli, which I think is the most informed team in all of Europe. So are they a favorite to win the Champions League with their current form? I think so. They're up there. They're favorites for sure. Now, will it happen? I don't know. It depends on how the coach manages this. Are they more worried about winning the Serie A, or are they more worried about putting all their chips into the Champions League? I know they have a comfortable lead right now in Serie A, but anything can happen in the league, right? Where the Champions League is just boom, knockout game. So, great on Napoli though. I love watching Napoli. Serie A is making a comeback. So,
JC, for the people that were not watching or that are listening, you were shaking your head when he said Napoli is one of the best informed teams in Europe. You were shaking your head. Why is that?
No, because nobody wants to talk about Napoli and how informed they are, and you want to talk about Ballon d'Ors, but don't want to consider a Victor Osimhen, who's just been lights out and linked to every big club as a potential striker. But whatever, right? Let's give it to Rashford for sure. Let's not even consider anybody in the world ever, because Osimhen doesn't put up.
Well, look, not to take away from Napoli, but let's be honest. Like Juventus is nowhere this season. Really, they're only competing against AC Milan and Inter, which are having their own battle between the two. So Roma's not there in the title challenge. So really, Napoli's been running away with it.
So now they're dismissed. They're not credible.
No, I'm not trying to dismiss nothing, but I'm just saying.
It sounds like you are, because at this point, if you call Napoli the most informed team, but you don't consider any of their players, candidates for Ballon d'Ors, but
for
United,
sure, 100% Osimhen's going to be in there.
But
I'm not thinking Osimhen's top 10. I'm not saying Osimhen's top 10.
United is playing Europa League. Napoli's playing Champions League, but you're giving the Ballon d'Or to a Europa League player, but not considering one player.
I didn't say I'm giving Rashford the Ballon d'Or.
Last podcast, you can.
I said
go there.
He's in the conversation. So is
but
Osimhen
isn't. No, he's not.
Now he is. He's in the conversation. But I mean, I'm not delusional to say Marcus Rashford's going to win it. It'll be cool. That'll be pretty tight. Well, yeah, you don't have to be dramatic here and there. You just give it to him. Give it to him.
There's no reason. He's having an average season. He's past due on what he's doing.
Now it's average.
You want to talk about
He's
a
got
real
more goals than
candidate?
Osimhen, and you're saying he's having an average season. What are you talking about?
I don't
Make up your
know.
mind now. Make
I
up
don't
your mind.
know. I don't
Make up your
know.
mind. Make up
I
your
don't
mind.
know. I don't
All right.
know.
Talk
Does
about
he
your
have
boy
more
Chucky
goals than Osimhen?
Lozano. What did he do?
Does he have more goals than Osimhen?
He has more goals than Osimhen.
Lozano's got more Champions League assists this year than Rashford. So how about that? How about that?
Osimhen, no, he does. Osimhen has 20. He has 20 goals, 4 assists, while Marcus Rashford has
Serie A?
25. And in Serie A, he has
Or
18
all
goals.
competitions. Or all
No,
competitions.
this is on all competitions. He has
Competitions,
20. He has 20 goals and 4 assists. And Marcus Rashford has 25 goals and 26 goals, 25, 26, something like that, and like 8 assists.
Pretty close.
But
Yeah, pretty
Osimhen does have a streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 9 goals in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games.
Man's on fire. Man's hot.
Yeah. Osimhen? Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But here we are giving it all to Rashford because he had a 10,000 word count Instagram post last week. For sure. Sounds great. Yeah, let's give it to him. But no, anyways, Napoli, great game. Good work. Handle business. You saw Frankfurt get a red card early. Well, not even that early, but it was a just red card. You know, studs high. You got to be a little more hesitant, or you have to understand that sometimes you just gotta let those 50-50 balls go and take into consideration what's at stake. But Napoli just handled business. They're crushing in Serie A. They're coming in steamrolling. Perfect matchup for them, I would say. Above all teams they could have got. I think Frankfurt versus Napoli was probably one of the most balanced one. Did I have Napoli winning? Yes. The way they won, a little crazy. That second goal was nuts, man. It was just class all the way through. That left winger, can't pronounce his name.
Georgian boy.
There you go. He is crazy, man. And he just bursted onto the scene literally out of nowhere. So, respects to Napoli. The coach just doing it. He's got team inspired and he's running with the the form he's got. And he's got everybody on a sick high, and they're just going to finish strong. And Serie A is kind of in the bag for them as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot. Nobody else should be winning, so they should really just be focusing on Champions League and just handling business when it comes to their domestic cup.
Eddie, what's Luciano doing so well with Napoli? Like, why is he having him? Why are they playing at such a high level?
Just the way he's rotating his players. Chucky Lozano is not a guaranteed starter week in and week out. But when these players come in, they do the job that you expect them to do. They're producing. And if you want to be a championship caliber team, you need to have your role players producing, because you can't just leave it to your star players or players that are just hot in that moment to do everything. But Napoli, any player that comes in, you're not missing out on anything, right? Again, defensively, they've been a unit. They've been pretty strong. Whether it's Mario Rui out there, being a menace, or Di Lorenzo being the big captain that he is for the squad. The team spirit for this team right now is just at an all-time high. And, it's almost reminiscent of that team, whether you like it or not, the way Sarri had Napoli playing for a little bit, where they looked like a really dangerous team. They were scoring at will, and players looked in form week in and week out. But we all know what happened with Sarri. They couldn't keep up the Sarri ball. But right now, it doesn't look like Napoli are going to lose any steam. I think they're too hot, man. They're too hot right now. Way too hot.
Here at Compas FC, we like learning, right? We like learning. We're about learning. So Luciano in 2005, he had Unidense, and he took them to the champ. He had them qualify for the Champions League. Mm-hmm. Then he was the Roma head coach he was the Roma's coach for 4 years. Then he went to St. Petersburg in Russia for 6 seasons. He took 2 years off, came back to Roma. Then he was the Inter coach. Now he's with Napoli. This is probably the best. That he has. The best team that he's probably managed in a long time. So that's pretty cool. The way he has Napoli.
And honestly, the best part about this team, there's no clear-cut superstar. There's not one guy that's really taking the whole, cake. Aside from, I guess you could say Osimhen, because he's just bagging all the goals, right? But the responsibility is definitely shared. Different players are showing up at different times,
And they have a talented team.
And it's a group. It's a group from top to bottom. Every position has 1-2 players you could pick out that you'll want on any team at any big European club starting. And they're solid, man. Shout out, what's his name again?
Luciano.
Paisano. But definitely, doing his job. And that Roma team wasn't a little push-off team. I think a certain club somewhere knows about that Roma team and how difficult they were to play against and how they could score a goal in late minutes. And they played with a lot of pride. And that's definitely what he brings to his club is a lot of pride and a lot of hard work. And they're not going to play till the whistle.
I know this next game put a smile on both of your guys' face. RB Leipzig ended up tied with Man City 1-1. Eddie, I'm going to start off with you. What Man City looked like they were in control the first half of the game, and then the second half, it was all Leipzig. Just what did you see from Man City in the first half, and what do you think changed the tide for them?
We saw a lot of fluidity in their game, and they're creating chances at will. I think it's concerning for them that they're seeing Haaland not finish, some chances. And that's what happens when you play with a striker like Haaland. He's not your typical striker where now in today's game, you're looking for someone that can link play. And Haaland, unfortunately doesn't link play very well. And if we know something about Pep and how he likes to play, it's all about linking play and creating easy chances. He's a little worried about it, right? Why is his striker's not firing? They're not creating, or they're creating chances, but they're not scoring them. And his Leipzig team, really just, took it at him second half. I know J.C.'s boy and Kugel came in for a little showing here and there. Good to see him back from injury. That goal that they scored, a bullet header, kind of crazy. But anything can happen, and it's just Pep in the Champions League. You know what's happened in the recent years where I don't know, this team chokes, and this team shouldn't be choking, right? Squad's worth like $1 billion. There's no way it should be choking. Maybe he needs another $1 billion. But again, if you're a Man City fan, this is concerning to you because just last season you were basically licking your chops that you were gonna be in the Champions League final. And is this another classic Pep I overthought it moment? And I'm gonna go into the second game and try to tinker with things and just mess up the fluidity that we have. We'll see, right? And his Leipzig team have nothing to lose because clearly they're not going to win the league and they're not going to win their domestic league. This is the best chance they have at getting any silverware this season.
JC, could in the second leg, could Leipzig take it to Man City?
They definitely could. And today, or for this game, you definitely saw a Leipzig team that was lively, very strong. They weren't afraid of who they were playing against, and they played, player for player. They manned up in the first half. I think the stat was crazy, like 80-20 possession. But possession doesn't win you games, and it doesn't guarantee victories. So they can keep that stat, but Leipzig was just one good striker away from scoring 3 goals on Man City. A lot of point blank misses. And, here you see a Man City team that's stacked player for player. They really don't match up other than Josko and I guess you could say Nkuku, Timo Werner, not having the best, form of his life. If not, you would still see him playing for Chelsea. But you really just see this game, and contrary to what Pep's post-game conference was saying about, do you expect us to win this game 5-0? Yeah, we expect you to win this game 5-0 because you got another favorable matchup, like when you play Arsenal every single year. And it's crazy. You don't see or don't ever expect Haaland to go goalless in a game like this. And the quality of goal they scored and the way they got their goal scored on is really just a Leipzig error. Other than that, Leipzig really just ran their game and they handled business and they did their job. Second half, they weren't afraid. They played at home and they played with their advantage and they used their crowd in their favor. But Leipzig was just one good striker away from winning this game 3-1, 4-1 at any given time. You could have called that goal back on the header, but that's just good aerial play. You know, you're in the corner, you're set pieces, you're gonna fight, it's gonna get dirty, and you're at home. You got to go out there and fight for that. I'm surprised I didn't see more goals in Kuku's second leg. Could be a game changer. If you had Timo Werner playing striker and then Kuku right behind him, watch out now, because once Timo Werner gets into the open space 1v1s, you see a Kuku or another player trailing, you could be seeing some goals. But Man City, no De Bruyne, no action. That's really what it's looking like to me. If there's no De Bruyne playing for Man City, you're not going to see anything happen at Man City. It really is just a one-man show up there.
Here is what and J.C. alluded to this. Here's what Pep said after the tie.
So mad.
I imagine you were very happy at halftime for an away performance. That's in Europe. Is that as controlled as it gets?
No, I'm happy for all game, not just for the first half.
Yeah. Even though they came into it in the second half, you thought that was more about them than you?
Well, what do you expect? We play a friendly game here. How many games have you knew from Leipzig? How many games?
Yeah, no, they're a good team.
Come on. So the people expect we're going to win 0-5?
Yeah.
That's not a reality. It's a competition that in group stage many important teams are
Bro,
out.
your team is tough.
And it's difficult. And we knew it with our 4 game in 10 days, away all of games, the travels. And the people expect, no, we are a good team, that we do many, many good things, and we continue to do this. And if the people expect come here 0-4, I'm sorry, we are not able to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the comment right there?
Sounds
you see that comment? I love
can't see
that.
You have the best coach in the world, the best players in the world, but you don't expect them to come out and win 4-0, 5-0 versus a Leipzig team that just got founded in 2009.
Look, I don't like
Give me a
this.
break.
We played 4 games in 10 days or whatever he wants to say.
They're not the only ones.
Give a fella a look. What is done is his career. Holy crap, people can't even spell. Homie, go get a lesson. Give a fella a break. Look what is done in his career and in Prem and still this year. Still beat manager in the world. Pep is the beat manager of the world, people. He's the beat manager of the world.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. Madrid have played a lot more games than Liverpool have. And they still came out and won their game 5-2.
You know what's crazy though? In the NFL, I mean, and that's just because that's what I cover. We ask coaches, "Hey, you guys are playing 3 games," and I mean, we don't really look at that. Like, we don't really realize that that. You ask it, and Pep knew right off the top of his head, off of his noggin, that we've played 4 games in the last 10 days. We have this, we have that, injured players. Like, it's just funny to see how he had that already ready to go, just in case if they lost or tied.
They're not the only ones. Liverpool's playing these games. United's playing these games. Chelsea's playing these games. Newcastle's playing these games. Go down the Premier League list. They're all playing 5 tournaments at a time, bro.
And Arsenal backtrack. They still have to catch up and play all these other games.
Arsenal.
And look, Man United are going to play this tie against Barcelona, and then they play the cup on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on, man. Like,
by the way, hold on. We have breaking news. Pep right now is in a press conference, and he is going to ask the chairman for more money. Let's go to that.
$100 billion.
What is it? What does he do? The little pinky?
Now, Mr. Evil.
Look, that's the FA League right there.
Evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much. It's the policy of the.
That's the Premier League versus Guardiola right there.
Exactly.
Give me more money.
Yeah, it's the FA just saying, you want more money?
Yeah.
I knew you guys would love that one. By the way,
the comments will be lively on that one.
Let's move on now. Inter Milan beat Porto 1-0. By the way, guys, I was watching this game, and Pepe, like Real Madrid Pepe, we all know him, Portugal Pepe. Man, that guy is still flying all around the field. I think he's 39 years old. He is still flying all over the field. If there's one guy, because I know that Memo Ochoa said it, other guys have said it, like, Messi said it. I think Ronaldo said he might be at the next World Cup. They don't know. I'll stamp this one. I'd bet. Eddie, lock it in. Pepe will be at the next World Cup for Portugal. The way this guy's playing,
I'll lock it in because like we've seen an old Bruno Alves back in the day play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was like 43 or something. 40. I don't know
Yeah.
what it was. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so it's crazy. So why
No,
wouldn't you want to take Pepe, who looks a lot fitter, a lot better?
he really jumps out at you when you watch him play.
Yeah.
But it was just
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't know. This game right here, really, I expected a lot more from Porto.
So did I.
You know, they came out like flat. Unfortunately, they lost, and they lost the worst way possible, having Lukaku score on you. So, a little Lukaku right there, finally getting back on you know, firing against little clubs or what. I'm not saying Porto's a little club, but again, Lukaku scoring on you is not the best look, right? No. You know, Porto can turn this around. Again, going down 1-0, now that away goals don't matter. This game is still up in the air. It's a coin flip. Don't think because Inter are up 1-0 that they're gonna just steamroll them the next game. That's not gonna happen.
JC?
I believe that red card to Otavio is gonna definitely bring him down a lot more because they really don't have a player to go ahead and play that false nine position. Matias Uribe is gonna come play it. Come on now, like really, like who's gonna come in and play that position? That's what I'm asking you. Who's gonna come in and fill that hole that Otavio's leaving behind? Because
oh my god,
that's what I'm asking you. Who's gonna fill the void? Matias Uribe, Grujic? Like realistically, you really had Porto winning this game. I never did. It was Inter's game to lose. It was Inter's game to lose, especially playing at home. And the fact that they only won 1-0 is alarming a little bit. But that red card plays in their favor. Lukaku comes off the bench and scores a goal. Which
I for sure still think that Porto win this game or this time in.
Put it, lock it in.
Lock it in right here. Lock it in right here.
Go look silly.
Lock it in right here. 2-1.
Go ahead. Go ahead
2-1.
and look silly. It's not happening, but you know, Inter's gonna win this game and they're gonna win this leg. And you know, on to the next. I feel like Inter really still needs to figure out a little bit more of attack. I feel like if you start Lukaku with a Lautaro, you're gonna see a lot more. Interesting to see him captain the side, aside from Bastoni and the Skriniar still being there, and you know, Di Marco also should have, could have, but Inter just left a lot out there, especially playing at home. They miss a lot of goals, a lot of point blank ranges. You hate to see it, but I still believe they're going to win the next leg. And, you know, Pepe was amazing to see back there still doing what he does. You know, the guy's literally the definition of fine wine. And, you know, Inter just has to handle business the next game. They're playing with the lead. They really don't even have to come out and attack because where's Porto going to generate a goal from, realistically? Who's going to come in from the Porto side and break down a 8-man defense from Inter? Nobody.
Yeah, I completely agree. Are you guys cool? You guys want to move on, or you guys want to stay on?
Unless my man can answer for me. Unless my man can break for me, who's going to start over Otavio and generate a goal?
So right now, 2-1. I locked it in.
All right, there you go. Eddie's locked it in. All right, guys. Well, honestly, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was before the Super Bowl, we talked about obviously what's going on. Oh no, actually no, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago about Diego Coca being hired by Mexico and the Mexican Federation, and you guys said that change needed to come. Well, it was reported on Wednesday that the Federation president Jon de Luisa has turned in his resignation and will not seek re-election for the Mexican Federation. Obviously, more details are to come, but JC, why is this such big news, and is this good or bad for Mexico?
It's only good if the next person in charge actually comes in and does something for the players. You already have a little bit of an alarm with Diego becoming the coach, because if you look back at his track records, he's never debuted any youth players. But it's also kind of alarming because you hire a head coach, but then fire the sporting guy in charge. So is the head coach really here to stay? Is he here just temporarily and they're going to bring in another guy based off of whoever's going to take over for Jon, I'm sorry. Long time coming. I'm happy Jon's gone. but I'm only going to stay happy if the next guy really coming in is going to do something for the player and make sure that quality players get a quality chance and they're not about the same business that the federation is known for. And that's just selling tickets and, selling jerseys and making commercials. Because this last World Cup, you saw it. They had the oldest group average, right? They're not playing to win. They're not coming to the World Cup to do anything but sell some jerseys and come on a long paid vacation and just cashing out. And hopefully with the sporting director changing, it was funny because he resigned, but you know how these resignations work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure put on the background. Shout out Hercules Gomez. Shout out Compas FC for breaking that news, at that man. And he really just, some groundbreaking work, whatever it was at the end of the day. We're all gone. We're all glad he's gone, but we're only going to stay glad if the next person that comes in really comes in and does something for the team.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And obviously, they also gave us the interview with El Escorpión Dorado and El Piojo Herrera. You showed us that last week, obviously off camera. That was something to watch. But Eddie, why is this good news?
I think we talked about it after the World Cup, actually, even before 2 or 3 weeks ago, that Yon de Luisa was, at the root of the problem with the Mexican Federation. And it just goes back to his whole project where they lost a Gold Cup, they lost a Nations League Cup, they had a poor showing in the World Cup, and the United States look like they're the team to beat now in CONCACAF. So did you really want that to happen these last 4 years where Mexico, not only Mexico, but let's say players that have both nationalities are Mexican and American, would you like those players to start choosing, hey, you know what, maybe the more lucrative thing is to play for the United States and not Mexico. And sporting wise, like, it's a great thing because now you have the chance to actually get someone in there that's going to be focused on the sporting related things, where you're not making as many commercials, maybe you're not really caring about playing lesser competition, and you're seeking competition from Europe. Maybe you get to play, Germany here and there. Maybe Holland gets in there. Who knows? Maybe even get to play against Spain or England in these friendlies, opposed to, like, no disrespect, but like Bolivia, Venezuela, Honduras. Like, these are not the type of teams that you want to play if you're Mexico. So yeah, it's good news. But then, at the last thing, like J.C. hinted at, it was like, well, if this was a sporting director and that was his call to hire Diego Coca, what's going to happen to him? So there's a lot of uncertainty revolving the Mexican Federation right now. Who's going to replace him? Yon de Luisa. Off camera, I hinted to JC, maybe Ricardo Peláez comes in here and gives you an Efecto Peláez type of situation where the guy knows the league, he played for Mexico, things of that nature. But then again, do you really want another one of those guys that now it's, he's basically like a Televisa pundit, if you were to, take me on my word, or do you actually get someone else that's, maybe not been a pundit, has not been one of these quote unquote puppets for these big TV stations, and is just there to do the job of being a sporting director and just worried about sporting related things.
Eddie, do you feel like locking something or no?
Oh, it's tough, man.
Let me ask you, Diego Coca, will he be the manager for the 2026 World Cup?
No, he will not.
JC?
I agree. I think the rumor, I don't know where I heard it or who said it, credit to them, but I think after a bad showing in the Gold Cup, he's going to be gone. I think it's USA's tournament to win. I still think they're going to run circles around the Mexico team because Mexico refuses to develop any talent coming in. And USA's coming in strong, and they want it all, man. They want it all.
Eddie?
Your objective, if you're coming in to be the new sporting director, is to get the youth back into these World Cup tournaments. They didn't qualify for any tournaments. Get the men back into winning the Gold Cup, which they should be doing, possibly playing in the Copa America, and seeking better competition, growing the women's game in Mexico. there's already a lot of teams in Liga MX that have female teams, but it really is just, I guess, their biggest task is going into 2026. The bigger objective, specifically the men, is going into 2026 and outperforming the United States and regaining and rebuilding that trust with the fan base. Because, like I said, the casual fan doesn't really care, but those who have been invested into following Mexico and are there almost every game or watch every game or whatever have you, those are the type of people and those are the type of fans that you want to build the trust again with.
Completely agree. All right, moving forward, we have some interesting news from, let me get it, Doug McIntyre from Fox Soccer. He tweeted out today at a media event in New York, MLS Commissioner Don Garber says the league wants to announce its 30th team by year's end, with Las Vegas and San Diego the front runners. Garber adds that the MLS could go beyond 30, name checks Detroit, Phoenix, Sacramento, and Tampa. Obviously, guys, this is huge for the city of San Diego. If it happens, especially, I mean, we all know they lost an NFL team, but obviously they still have the Padres, who are probably one of the hotter teams in baseball. Well, they're one of the favorites leading coming into the season. They already have a women's soccer team. They have the San Diego Loyal, so there's rumors that maybe the Loyal would turn into their MLS team, especially with what's his name from Modern Day. He's now playing with them. You guys know his name. What's his name? Oh God, he used to play in Tijuana with the Cholos. Then he played. He played
Corona?
Joe Corona.
Joe Corona, yeah, he's playing with them. And then obviously Landon Donovan went from being their manager to now their president of soccer operations. So a lot of people thought that was a move that obviously he made for just in case if they get to the MLS. But JC, how big is this for the city of San Diego if they're next in line for if they do get an MLS team?
Oh, I think it's huge. Definitely, definitely long overdue. You know, we've said it and we've hinted at it a bunch of times in the group chats. And when are we here in San Diego going to get that team? And it's only a matter of time. The talent pool is here. The quality that we can produce is definitely here. When you look at the other names that are checked between a Vegas, a Detroit, a Phoenix, Sacramento, Tampa, Michigan has a great soccer program over there. Phoenix, Sacramento, Tampa, those are all places that you can see developing some kind of talent or inspiring kids to just start playing more and more football, and picking something other than a baseball or a basketball or even a football as an outlet, or NFL football, sorry, as an outlet for making a living. So I've always said it and I've always believed it. The athleticism is definitely here in the U.S. And if we can start getting these teams going, you're going to be seeing a very, very lively, very, very, tough team from the United States come in 2026. And the more you can develop in this next 4 years, and the better quality you can pick, and the higher you raise the talent level, the better off you're going to be. But as a fan, I'm excited. I want to have a MLS team. Do I want the Loyal? No. I don't want that I don't want that to be the San Diego, MLS team. I think we should deserve a little bit more than the San Diego Loyal.
I'm not trying to trash either team, but if it was
brand it,
yeah,
I'm all for it.
If it was the Loyal, who would have a worse nickname and worse team name? The Wave or the Loyal?
That's what I'm saying, man. At least the San Diego Wave is okay.
It's all right.
You got the San Jose Earthquakes,
yeah,
which isn't a crazy name, but it's to them,
yeah.
The San Diego Suns, something
Loyal
like
to
that.
the soil.
Or, San Diego Seals. I think we got one of those. Don't we have a Seals?
The lacrosse team.
Let the San Diego Sockers come up to MLS and be the team. But yeah, now as long as we can rebrand and get the names and the colors right, we're great. But the talent here, if they put a soccer academy here, forget about it. There's talent coming through left and right. So,
and there's a lot of talent in San Diego with Albion, with all these club teams here.
So
Eddie
many.
Rodriguez is here playing soccer as well. So There's a lot of talent out here. Hi, Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, I still play here and there. You know,
Give my guy a tryout.
Growing up, I played club soccer for sure.
Just talk about how big of a move this would be for San Diego.
I mean, San Diego gets disrespected. Like, we're not a sports town, but you know, when the Wave got here and they played their first game, you know, at Snapdragon, it was sold out, man. So,
you were there?
You know, just put that into perspective, right? It was major news, man. And
you were there?
You know, when I got to a couple of soccer games right there at the Bachanga Arena.
My guy has an Alex Morgan jersey.
It gets pretty crazy over there. Oh, I love Alex Morgan. Shout out. But then again, like why are we getting this flack that San Diego is not a sports town? Like, you've seen what it can be when the Padres just went on this crazy run last year, right? San Diego needs another professional sports team, and I think, you know, the MLS makes a lot of sense. I know we were pushing for it when it was on the ballot. You know, it looked like it was going to be a real possibility. You know, people voted for San Diego State to have the Snapdragon, whatever it is. Okay. Just the biggest question is where would they actually put the stadium if they were to make the team here? You know, I think potentially the sports arena makes a lot of sense. It's outdated. It needs to be remodeled. You make them put it there, and it's a multi-purpose venue where not only can you play soccer games, but you can use it for other things, right? But it's great news for San Diego. Like J.C. said, there's a lot of talent here, man. You know, the border's just across, you know, not the pond. It's like literally 10 minutes away. If you live in like downtown San Diego, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of soccer academies already here where Nomads, Del Mar Sharks, Albion, the Rebels, Aztecs. So the talent's here, the culture's here. Definitely will succeed if they bring an MLS team here.
Let me ask you guys. Obviously, the San Diego Wave. Every team goes like LAFC. They went to go get Carlos Vela. San Diego Wave went to go getAlex Morgan.
I swear, if you say
no, I
will
even finished.
Turn off my camera.
No. Hold on. Hold on. I don't even. Honestly, I don't even know what you. I didn't even hear what you said. But
disconnect.
What player would San Diego need to bring in to make that big noise for them to be like Eddie? I'm going to start off with you because you didn't threaten to turn off your camera. What player would they need to bring in to really solidify and be like, hey, look, like we brought a Carlos Vela, Alex Moore. Like you obviously need to start off, especially with San Diego being such a soccer town, because San Diego is always one of the top cities in the country with ratings and Champions League, World Cup, all these things. Yeah. Who would they need to bring in here to make some noise?
If we're talking locally, where we're talking about North America,
no. Like,
so
you could
pick general.
Like you could pick an aging player from Europe. You can pick Mexican player. You can pick whatever you want.
I mean, we're talking Mexican player. I think you try to put all your chips into like an Alexis Vega coming over here and playing over here. The kid's young. He's a great player. And that's a person that he could be a cornerstone player where you build around him. If we're talking internationally, oh man, it's, you know, I want to say, you might hate me for this, but I want to say that you offer a player like a Benzema all the money he wants to come retire over here in the MLS and play his last 3 years here. You know, a player of his caliber and his stature will for sure get people watching. You seen what happened when Zlatan came to the Galaxy, right? It almost like revived that franchise that was kind of dying off because the noisy neighbors moved in. So, yeah, if you're going for Mexican talent, yeah, I think an Alexis Vega makes a lot of sense. If you go internationally, I think like a player like Benzema sounds pretty good.
I like that one.
You don't go for these aging players because your younger fan base is not going to relate to them, right? Like, you know, a Herrera like that went to Houston Dynamo, like that to me doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess Chicharito will get a pass, but Vela going to the LAFC, I like that. It made a lot of sense. Guy was still in his prime and running amok.
Carlos Vela, where'd he play when he was in his prime? Where did I play when I was in my prime?
A difference, the big difference. Poor
That
Hercules
fool's a
had to sit
savage.
through that interview, huh?
He's a savage. He's a
Yeah.
savage.
Um,
JC?
yeah, JC, what do you think?
Yeah, no, you hit it on the button, man. Some fresh blood for sure. You don't want to bring in some busted Guardado guy in here who's really just gonna sell tickets for old fans. You know, you got to bring somebody in. And to be honest, anybody could come. There's really not one person. My only thing is I just would hate to see some old aging 3-player come in and just be like, "Oh, this is our star," and Guardado.
Héctor
But look, it's different me saying bring up Benzema that's aging because there's levels to it, right?
But
It's
no,
aging
you definitely.
Benzema, yeah. So
Benzema would
rip
still
a
bag
page.
you. Benzema would still bag you 20 to 25 goals in the MLS.
100%.
You know, you got to
Yeah.
rip a page from the Galaxy book and bring you in somebody that's going to bring you in some, some Zlatan, some Beckham.
Man, I'll tell
you.
I got
something
one.
crazy like that.
I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
I got one.
Oh,
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Oh, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Christy Jr.
Cristiano
was
in San
born here in
Diego?
San
Look,
Diego.
Cristiano had talks with Kansas City before he went to Saudi Arabia to join the MLS, and he said it in his press conference when he was unveiled that he had real productive talks and real serious talks about coming to the MLS with Kansas City and their sporting project. So why not give Cristiano a brand new stadium, a brand new team? That's crazy, man. That's
give
crazy.
Cristiano one more year in Europe, and if you're really going to build this team, you dig the hole now. You start digging for the stadium. You give Cristiano that brand new stadium. You unveil him as your next player here in San Diego. That stadium. Do you know how much the tickets are going to cost to watch Cristiano Ronaldo play? Like
More than a Taylor Swift concert, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then you know who's coming with him, right? You know who's coming with him? Marcelo. Marcelo would definitely come with Ronaldo to play here. Can you imagine having those two guys here? It'd be like a rock. Like I don't know which one said it. It'd be like a rock concert here, like Cristiano Ronaldo, Marcelo. I just think it'd be amazing for him. And then obviously he's in San Diego. His kid, Cristi Jr. was born here. He has everything he needs here.
And
so
what about the MLS restarting that rivalry between Cristiano and Messi? Because Messi might be making his way to Miami.
There you go.
So,
I mean,
and then we have ex players like a Rooney coaching at DC.
Yeah. Well, supposedly,
don't sleep on the MLS now. They're
who's
making
the
a
other
lot
one?
more moves than Liga MX.
Who's the other one going? I think Busquets might be headed to Miami as well.
Wow, see,
we'll be
they're getting the whole gangs back together.
There you go. Can you imagine like Marcelo and Cristiano Ronaldo here in San Diego? Imagine Compas FC has them on the show. Can you imagine? Like,
let me get Ramos.
Oh, now you're thinking, huh? So you want the whole gang back together. You want the
Miami
FC to have all the Barcelona players. And
you know what? Speaking of what JC said earlier,
if you want to talk about the gang, let me get the captain. Let me get Ramos.
You know what he said is right, because I saw a clip. Ramos said recently, like, oh, now knowing and playing with Messi, now I can see why he is the greatest of all time. I'm like, bro,
you gotta say that stuff.
Yeah. No, that's in his contract, I'm sure.
Ten Hag has to say that about Rashford. He doesn't have to say it. All right, whatever.
Look,
and on that note,
I think that's our time, right? I think that's.
And on that note, thank you guys so much for checking out another episode of Compas FC. We appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check out everything else on the Compas page. We had so much fun at Super Bowl week at Radio Row. We have a lot of great interviews. Don't forget to check out Dan and Dago and Jamal Hill going at it, UFC champion. Some pretty fun stuff. Don't forget to check out all social media. We have a lot of different videos there. Don't forget to check out everything on What's Up Bolts, House of Horns, everything like that. Compas, we took the week off, obviously, from Compas on the Beat. We will be getting back into it. Obviously, Combat Compas is coming back. WrestleMania is right around the corner. AEW has a pay-per-view coming up. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening, but we're gonna be all at the forefront of it. But we appreciate you guys so much for checking out another episode of Compas FC. We will have another special episode dropping Friday morning. of the conclusion of the Barcelona versus Manchester United. Obviously, a lot of folks like that episode last week, so we're going to do that again this week. Again, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys so much. We do this all for you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget, be a compa, tell a compa, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week.